So what are the different boundary conditions which are possible, which can help us to solve the heat diffusion equation? So there are multiple combinations which are possible. Let's study those combinations one by one. So I'll list down the boundary conditions first. So we are going to study the various boundary conditions. Okay, and the first one is constant surface temperature, and whenever possible I'll give you the physical significance or physical happening example of this constant surface temperature or whatever boundary conditions comes next. Constant surface temperature, I can say the temperature is specified. So what does that mean is at some location x is equal to 0. So I'm writing x is equal to 0 or some x is equal to some location. I'm not writing y and z because I'm assuming we are in one dimension. If we are in three dimensions, we should be given a location of a point. That means x, y and z three coordinate values are required. So as of now, assuming one dimension, we'll have y x is equal to 0 location. That means the temperature, which is a function of x and time, is now 0 and some time t, and the value is t1. At some location x is equal to L, my temperature at location L at any given time t is equal to temperature T2. So I'm given with these two conditions. These are the two conditions for me. So this is the first boundary condition, or it is rightly said commonly as boundary condition. So I'll generally write boundary condition as BC and or boundary conditions as BCS. So this specific condition, which is constant surface temperature, is called as boundary condition of first kind. It is given a specific name of boundary condition of first kind. The second one is, so let's understand the physical significance of this. So when the constant surface temperature would occur, that is also a big question. So that occurs commonly when we have a phase change situation. If there is a phase change material involved and that is going through a phase change, in that process my surface temperature will remain constant of that material, which is a phase change material. The second is specific heat flux or constant surface heat flux, or a heat flux, my Q double dash is specified. So in this case, at any location x at x is equal to 0, my heat flux Q double dash at x, what does this mean is, I have written heat flux at x is equal to 0 is equal to minus k del t by del x taken at x is equal to 0. This may be a specified value. When I write this, it means this is a constant given value. Okay, and again at some at x is equal to L location, my heat flux would be given as some value. Okay, and so that's all. And what does this mean when we draw this on a diagram? It means that if I am given with some wall which has Q1 over here and Q2 over here, my value and A1, this is that area A1, this is area A2, my Q1 which is entering from this surface is equal to Q2 or some specified value which is entering from this or exiting from this surface. These are the two specified locations, x is equal to 0 location and x is equal to L location. and this boundary condition is also given a special name, which is called as boundary condition of second kind. Okay. Now the third condition comes, which is adiabatic surface. Or we have insulated boundary. So adiabatic surface may be written, but physically adiabatic surface means it is an insulated boundary. That means the specific value of heat flux which we see in the previous case, that specific value of heat flux goes to 0. Insulated means there is no heat transfer. Heat transfer means Q dot is 0. Since Q dot is 0, that means Q heat flux Q double dash is also 0. So this you should be easily be able to infer that if my heat transfer is 0, that means flux is 0. So this occurs when we have an insulated surface, or to stress on this thing, it should be a perfectly insulated surface. It should be a perfectly insulated surface. That perfectly is to stress on the value of 0. If it is not 0, there could be a small value of heat flux which is allowed. So in this case, I have already defined that my Q dot is 0, Q double dash will be 0, and it can be represented using this kind of diagram. That if this surface is insulated, it is represented by a brick wall kind of structure, and the brick wall or the wall has temperature function of x and t, and at this location my wall is insulated. That means my heat flux is 0. Since my heat flux is 0, this is also 0. This is 0 means my k dt by dx is 0. That means my dt by dx is 0. I'll come to this condition again sometime later also. This is a very interesting case for us. Now another boundary condition possible is the fourth boundary condition, which is of convection boundary condition. If there is a convection heat transfer occurring, so this convection boundary condition is called as boundary condition of third kind. So this was the second kind, where the heat flux was constant. First kind was where the surface temperature was constant. The third one is where the boundary condition has a convection boundary condition. That means if I have a surface or a wall of thickness L, the temperatures of surface are T1 and T2, and if a fluid is passing over here which has a stream temperature of T infinite 1, and over here the second fluid is moving or flowing which has upstream temperature of T infinite 2, and the fluid over here has the convective heat transfer coefficient as H1 and H2. Okay, so in this case my heat transfer would occur, and let's assume T infinity 1 is greater than T1 is greater than T2 greater than T infinity 2. Okay, so in this case my T1 will absorb some heat from the first fluid, then from T1 the surface some heat will pass on to this right side, then this second fluid will take away some heat along with it from this surface. So in this case, whatever Q dot convection is happening from first fluid is equal to Q dot convection from second fluid. What does that mean is, whatever heat which is absorbed by the wall from the first fluid will be transferred to the wall to the second fluid. This is the condition. That means my H1 T infinity 1 minus T 0 comma T is equal to minus k dt by dx when x is equal to 0. This is the condition. What does that mean is, I have written this using or taking this surface which I highlighted using the black pen. That surface taking as a constant volume surface and applying the energy principle on that constant volume surface. That means that constant volume surface or that surface will not store any heat. What does that mean is, whatever it is receiving will be passed on. There should not be any generation. The surface does not generate heat, the surface doesn't store heat. That means whatever it is receiving from the fluid is passed on as the conduction to the wall, to the right side of the wall. So this is the first condition, and in this again what we'll have, from the second surface we'll write another equation using taking a second surface or the right surface as constant volume. In that case what we'll have is minus k dt by dx when x is equal to L will be equal to h2 t L comma t minus t infinity 2. Okay, so this was the first one. That was the conclusion. What we have done is Q convection is equal to Q conduction at both the surface. That was our main idea, and using that we can write Q convection 1 is equal to Q convection 2. If the wall is not, it is at steady state, there is no heat generation, it is not storing heat, that means whatever it is receiving will be passed on to the second fluid, but that is not always true. And the last condition could be radiation boundary condition. And in this case, if we have a wall which has a temperature T1 and epsilon 1 as the emissivity, this has temperature T2, epsilon 2 as the emissivity, and this is L. That means whatever Q irradiation at 1 is equal to Q conduction at 1, and Q dot conduction at 2 is equal to Q dot radiation at 2. What I have written is, for this, the first condition, what I can write from this is epsilon 1 sigma T surrounding. So it is the T surrounding is the surrounding temperature everywhere, on the both side everywhere. So from T surrounding it will absorb some heat, that is through irradiation, raised to 4 minus T 04. So at this location, raised to 4 is equal to minus k dt by dx at location x is equal to 0. And using the second condition, this condition, what I can write is whatever this surface is receiving from the conduction, minus k dt by dx at location x is equal to L is equal to, it should emit that much. What does that mean is, why I have written epsilon, I will explain it also. So this should be the emission from the right surface. Okay, so let me explain a couple of things. First thing is, why did I write this epsilon 1? Assuming it is a gray surface, that means whatever it is absorbing, it is equal, the absorption coefficient is equal to emission coefficient. Otherwise this should have been the absorption coefficient alpha 1, but we are assuming alpha 1 is equal to epsilon 1, that's why I have written emission coefficient over there. The second, why did I subtract this? Over here also I subtracted T surrounding. So that means this surface will receive the radiations which are coming from a surface or which are coming from object which is at temperature T surrounding, but additionally at the same time this surface will emit also, that will emit as per its ability of temperature T1. So that temperature T1 is this temperature, okay, and accordingly, so hence the net heat transfer is receiving from surface temperature T surrounding and emitting with surface temperature T1. So net heat transfer is receiving minus emission. Over here also this surface, second surface, will emit with regards to this temperature T2, but it is also receiving from surrounding. So we need to subtract that some receiving part. Okay. So that's all we have. These are the 5 boundary conditions I have explained with all the details and all the mathematical part of it. So I hope this is going to be helpful. If you have any queries, please comment down. Thank you.